Good morning, St. Francis, and good morning, people of God. It is Thursday, the 15th day of February, 2024. It is Thursday after Ash Wednesday. Not yet the great counting of the 40 days of Lent. This is our Thursday in which, our first day in which to begin to look at the three disciplines of the season of Lent: prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. Here at Morning Drop-Off at the Franciscan School, once again, as we embark basically on our Lenten journey, because the Lenten journey has begun. The counting of Lenten days has not yet. So that will begin on Sunday. And so here at the Franciscan School, we silence the bell that usually brings us into morning prayer, and we use a clacker to be able to call us to prayer, to call us to order. Again, this ancient instrument in which bells were silenced in the Middle Ages, and so just this clacking that sounds like the nails being placed into Jesus's flesh. It's just a very interesting medieval custom, but we just use it to silence the bells, to silence a little bit of the regular joy that accompanies most of our all of our morning prayers. The thing is, again, this is also, though, this is not a season that is absent of joy, because the joy comes from understanding and realizing, again, that we are chosen by God, and we need to live as people who recognize the fact of our chosenness and what that chosenness means. And so these disciplines of prayer, fasting, and almsgiving allow us to be able to enter more into that realization of how indeed chosen we are by God. So our first reading on this Thursday after Ash Wednesday is Moses in Deuteronomy, basically telling the Israelites to choose life and not death. Follow the commandments, allow God to enrich their lives, allow God to lead them, allow God to be that which gives them hope and peace and wonder and joy. Faith is a choice, always. God cannot make us believe. God cannot force us into anything. As much as we sometimes think that, God doesn't force anybody to do anything. It is always the choice, the exercise of our free will. And so Moses tells the Israelites, as they are about to enter into the promised land, to choose life and not death. Because, again, who would want to choose death? Who would want to choose that annihilation? Who would want to choose the emptiness and the darkness and the sadness that death is? Ours is a God of life always, a God of the living and the dead. And if we do not recognize that, then we are lost, and we can never ever hope to attain the wonder and the beauty that God has in store for those who dare to trust in God's care, to trust in God's love for us, to trust in what God can do for us. Because, again, we look at each of the disciplines of Lent in these days that follow Ash Wednesday, the understanding again of prayer. So again, it's to follow the commandments allows us to be able to be people again who do pray and to understand the power of prayer. That again leads to that choice. In the gospel today, we have Jesus's again own prediction of his passion and what that means, and the whole understanding of basically taking up one's cross and following him. Again, to be able to surrender, because that's what prayer does. It surrenders us. It allows us to surrender and not be in control, and not have to think we are in control, and not drive ourselves crazy because we often think that we are in control when we really aren't. Again, this is where, again, taking up this cross is it's not basically to take up pain and suffering, because that is not what God desires for us, but to take up basically this trust in God, that God fulfills what God desires, that God fulfills God promises, that God does not leave us orphaned and abandoned, but God allows us, again, to understand the fullness of ourselves in a way that nothing else can ever afford or help us to achieve. That comes through understanding of prayer. It's not, again, just asking God for things. It's not basically creating a laundry list of those things that, we need to have God do for us. But it's this understanding basically of what it means to surrender to the wonder and to the beauty of God, to jump into those arms of embrace that are open for us always, that promise us hope and wonder and life abundantly. Do we dare to trust once again as we enter into this Easter, do we dare to trust once again as we enter into this Lenten season? That is one of the challenges of what Lent brings to us and what Lent asks of us. We'll respond with yes, once again, to love that is all-encompassing, to love that is never-ending, to love that gives us life in more ways than we can imagine. A blessed Lenten season, St. Francis and people of God. May the Lord give you his peace.